Blessings. Blessings to all. So I'm going to attempt to articulate this in the best possible way that I can. I wish to share a process, particular technology that I work with that has helped me within my ascension journey. Okay. When I first began to awaken, I learned to read energy through number sequences. And that's very common. Most people, they come across the 1111, 222s, 333s, trinitized forms. They're Trinity wave forms, okay? And then, which is 3 times 3, 3 to the third power, okay? The energy is to the third power. You get the 4, 4, 4, 4s, 4 to the fourth power, things like that. I'm trying to process and be able to communicate this properly to others, to share this information and this knowledge that has been very beneficial for my personal journey and what my higher self and my guides have shown me. Now, with number sequences, we all realize that it's a way that the universe is communicating to us. And you can call them angel numbers, whatever. You can go online. You can look up that, this means this and this means that. And that's great. We find the associations. We make the conceptual links and how it applies within our own framework, with our own schematics. So where I used to look and see like angel numbers mean X, Y, and Z, my guides are around me. There is a shift. I'm on the right path, yada, yada, yada. But I would like to express is there is actually a deeper science within these numerological, I can't even say the friggin' word. These number sequences, okay? They are deeply coded and embedded and can be utilized as a navigational system. Sometimes they are coordinates in order for you to travel the Stargate systems within calendar systems. And basically, the numbers work within complex systems, okay? And they help us navigate our reality. They help us navigate our environments. They are cues. They are signs, synchronicities. So when I began and I was receiving these repeating numbers, okay, I would get the 1111, the 222, 333. But then my universe started showing me different variations of these number sequences. And I began to build a living library, so to speak, of these numerological sequences. And I was using an ancient system, which is the Chaldean numerology. It is older than Pythagorean, and most numerologists use Pythagorean, but the Chaldean only goes 1 through 8 because the 9 is considered sacred. It's a sacred number. It is beyond this world. So you have 1 through 8, and each number corresponds to particular letters of our alphabet. I guess I can show you that. And you can look this up online, okay? So over time, I would get these number sequences, and I would work with this system, okay? And then I began, my universe and my guides would communicate to me through acronyms, okay? So an example would be 114. which breaks down to I am. 411 to me is information. So I know that there is some type of incoming information. There's data I will be receiving in some shape or form. But 411 is the mirrored number of the 114. So then I know that I'm working with the micro and the macro. I am working with the law of correspondence. Okay, so I would receive all these, and then I started learning which different sequences meant. And I wasn't seeing the normal repeating 333. It's rare, but I enjoy when I do get to see the 1111 because I know there's a very big shift. There's a large illumination collectively. And I take my focused intent within that now moment in order to help us all manifest what we are really striving and envisioning for. So with this system, I would get numbers very much so like 711. And oddly enough, that was my address prior to my move this past year. And I had lived there for many, many years. And 711. And 7 is a very spiritual number. For me, it is the number of the seeker, of the mystic, as well as the 9. And 11 is the illumination. It's the ignition point. It is the 2 pillars, okay, which is a geometric structure, which helps us build our individualized matrices, our geometric form, our blueprint, our templates, okay? The 11 is the 2 pillars in the Justice card in the tarot, and it is the 2 pillars in the High Priestess card, which is Jason and Bone, okay? They are the structures. They are what build God's temple within, okay? So as I'm working with these number sequences, okay, and these acronyms, I'm learning to decode and decipher, because when I receive downloads and packets, I have to decipher the information. And when I go into it and I scribe, I document, and I record, because part of my craft is record keeping. So when I'm able to download the package and record it and decipher it, I upload it back into the grid, and now it's accessible to others that are tapped into that grid system. So what I was learning, the more and more I was receiving these synchronicities, okay? It's a synchronization. The universe is sending these to you, and slowly, kind of sounds funny, but they're drip feeding you, okay? And they're slowly bringing you back online. And as I recorded, I would start to see that the space, the measurement between these occurrences, these synchronicities. So like I would wake up in the morning and it'd be 411, 411 in the morning. And then next time I looked at the clock, it was 511. Next time I looked at the clock, it was 611, 711, 811, so on, so on, so on. So the more that I could record these things, I could see the pattern. I could see how the energetics were flowing. And I was learning to watch and observe these patterns and these waveforms. Eventually that I started to see that it was a navigational system, that it was an internal navigational system. I was coming online and being synchronized to my environment, to the cosmos, to this greater system, this clock. And I know we're all like real funny about time, and time doesn't exist technically, because past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. But I was able to see the patterns of how these energies were playing out, which helped me be able to navigate the energies that were coming from the planets, from the cosmos, the energies within the environment of the third dimension. The further I continue to watch these patterns in these waveforms, then I started to realize, and I was documenting them on our Gregorian calendar system. And the more that you can break them down, and each day has a particular frequency, a tone, a sound, okay? And for several years, I was following this. And then last year, come April, our Gregorian calendar reset. We were in a descending order. And in April, it reset, and we're now moving in an ascending order through that calendar system. So what I was seeing is, like last year, we were in a 5-year, okay? And what I was noticing was the 115. And the 115 can break down through this Chaldean system, okay? 1-1, Y, I, and 5, N, yin. Okay? Yin energy. You can break down the word fire, and it comes to a 115. So I knew, and from my universe showing me, that it was the masculine was rising within the feminine. And as I would calculate and go through the whole Gregorian calendar system, these 115s occur every month, several times. And then there were X amount of months that these 115s fell on a full moon. So they were now synchronizing and correlating with full moons. Okay? So now I'm seeing the grander scheme of how these numbers can help us and show us how we connect to the planetary systems. Okay? The Cosmic Orchestra of synchronization. And then I was learning to abide by that greater law, so to speak. And again, please bear with me, because I'm processing, and I'm currently working off of several streams of consciousness while trying to stay focused within this now moment of relaying this type of information. So working through with this system and realizing that I'm now working with these number systems, these sequences, which are helping me navigate. They are helping me synchronize. They are helping me create and build. And the miraculous thing is, I began coding. I began working with my own cellular structure and molecular structure. I started to rearrange my own codons through this system by working with this. And the universe was helping me. And it sounds wild. It's intense. So to provide some examples, like I would get the number sequence 318, which breaks down to GAP, which is GAP, which is Galactic Activation Portal. Another number sequence, 542, which breaks down and reduces to an 11. The numbers, or the letters, I should say, NTS, Network Time Synchronization. So the letters and the numbers correspond to particular tones, frequencies, and vibrations. And the universe is constantly willing to gift us and show us these things. But it's beyond like, your guides are hanging out with you. Big things are coming. 5, change, conflict. But 5 is actually a number of creation. It's the 5th element. It's the quintessential. So it's like learning to look beyond the surface level of these concepts and these ideas and really expanding out and connecting these node points. So when the further that you can expand out through these systems and work within these systems, you are retemplating, you are rebuilding your matrix, your individualized matrix within the broader matrix. But yet you're no longer connected to third dimensional matrix. It's all crystalline. We're now functioning in that way. And the more that I continue to work with the system, then I was realizing these synchronizations, these sequencings are actually coordinates. Now I'm map making. These are coordinates which allow me to move throughout the Stargate systems. It's yeah. All right, let's take that. How do we thread over there? Bring it down. Basically, I don't have to attempt to express this all in one sitting. It's a lot to digest. These concepts and these ideas, these conceptual links in which we anchor into our grid systems and retemplate ourselves, it's very esoteric information. And it's hard for many of us on a human level to understand and conceptualize. Okay. So I just wanted to share part of my process. I encourage people. There are many technologies that are available to us right now. This is one model, one perspective, okay? This may not work for all. This works for me because I code, I decode, I work with ciphers, I work with information all the time. And part of my job is to go into these complex structures and recode, decode, deconstruct, and rebuild. We're in a builder year. Our ancient builder codes are coming online for many. And their remembrance of these type of technologies that help us create and navigate working through these superimpositions that are embedded within. And I don't want to say matrix because people have a trigger to the word matrix. But if you can look at things as a computer system, We are constantly programming, reprogramming, debugging, all of it. You're breaking down conditioning. When you are working through traumas, you're reprogramming your neural pathways. You are reprogramming your cellular structures, your DNA. Okay? So, I just wanted to bring that information forth. Not everyone will be working with numbers and mathematics. And I mean, I could sit here. I have a whole book full of breakdowns of words, acronyms. And with this, what I want to point out with the Chaldean is, and I see a lot of people do this when they're reducing numbers. They'll even break down master numbers, and you are not supposed to break down master numbers. 1111 is 1111. 22 is 22. 22 does not become a 4. Okay? It's the higher frequency. So when I was building my system with my universe, there were particular sequences that were unique to me because they were part of my blueprint. So anytime that I see particular sequences like 538, let's see. Most people would take the 5 plus the 3, which would give them an 8, plus the 8, which give them a 16 and a 7. But because I know that 3 and 8 make 11, I automatically see the 11 embedded within that, and I won't break that down. So it becomes a 511. My process is very different. And again, this is not an end-all, be-all. If it resonates, that's great. I'm just sharing from my process, my experience, what I've been shown, how I work with energy. And that's all I can do, you know. You take what resonates and you leave the rest. I encourage you all, though, if this just sounds like something, it's a tool. It's a tool that you can utilize. Throw it in your tool belt. If it works for you, start playing around with it. Explore. And that's how I started out. I just explored it. I was given this thing and I said, okay, let's see where it goes. And it actually turned into something incredible and beautiful. And then I realized that I was a coder, that I have the ability to go into these various systems, whether it's a biome, whether it is neural pathways, whether it's cellular structures. I have the ability to go in and code and decode this information and rewrite cellular structures. I mean, some people may call it system busting. I really don't have the terminology for a lot of this experience. So like I said, I'm doing my best to articulate, but this is a process. This is just one model. You know, like I don't use this as often anymore because I was shown a more advanced technology that I'm working with. And very much like a computer programmer, they have particular key codes, keywords, terms in order to program. So I'll give you an example. I can be given the word quark. Q-U-A-R-K. And because I have key codes to that, I break it down. And it's quantum, unity, activation, resonance, core. Okay? And I'll do that all day, just mentally. Sometimes I speak it. But I will get like an ignition point, and the universe tells me I need to code this. I'll be at work and I'll see somebody's name and I'll just break it down with my particular form of coding, because there's an energetic that needs to be rewritten or deconstructed within that now moment. I may not physically see the result of what happens. I'm just following my internal guidance system. I'm following my source and what I've been shown and what I've learned through these mystery schools. And it's pretty amazing, and it's pretty magical. And over time, you eventually see these things manifest. They might not be instantaneously. So, I just wanted to throw this out there, share it. If any of it makes sense, it's great. You know, if anybody has questions, you know, feel free to reach out. I will link my email in the description box. But again, it's really like just wanting to express. This has been part of my journey. This has been part of my process. These are the tools that I use that are pretty unconventional compared to what New Age tells you to do within this ascension. And as creators and as builders, as architects, we have access to so much more. So much more than we ever believed, we ever even knew. And the universe is always conspiring. But it's learning to have that intimate connection with the universe, with your environment, with these systems. And that's learning to become intimate with that gives us the opportunity to fully create in this now moment, energetically. I don't always know what will be the outcome. I just know I have the focused intent for the highest good of all. And when I'm shown these things, I use the tools that I've been given. And I focus on the highest timeline and the best outcome for all. And that's all I can do. So, yeah. Thank you. Blessings to all on your journeys forward.